Hey, it's Chris DeLeon here, and I'm excited to share with you the end result of what began years ago as GetYourselfToDoThings.com. It's evolved through a lot of iteration and a lot of refinement. It's available now at the time of this video, so I'm going to tell you how to get at it. I'm going to tell you an alternative way you can get access to it in case that works out better for your situation, and kind of a high-level example of where to use it. First of all, though, I want to say happy birthday to me. Literally, this is my birthday today. 6 years prior, I released another product on my birthday. That time it was Code Pack Bundles. I don't know how many of you were around for the hobbygamedev.com days, but yeah, so I like to release things on my birthday, it turns out. But the timing for this couldn't be better because it's near the end of the year, and what this material is about, it's an audiobook and transcript called SelfCommand, and it's really about just being able to bridge that gap between you want to do something and you're having difficulty doing it. Getting yourself to follow through on your intentions, to stick with something, to do something through the slog of when sometimes it's monotonous, when sometimes there's questions you run into up front, when you don't see immediate success at something. It's about a set of techniques, strategies, ways of thinking that help get you through that. Now, where this came from for me was that for many years I've been training game developers, and quite often the real challenge they've run into, because of the internet, they can find information. They have tons of tutorials bookmarked, courses they've signed up for, ebooks, example code, they got all kinds of resources, and yet they weren't making games. Time passed and they weren't making games. And what I figured out was that this is really a much more fundamental problem. It's not a game development specific issue at all, because I realized I was working with people with the same problem, no matter which part of game development they were working on, whether it had to do with they weren't networking, they weren't sharing their work online, they wanted to start a podcast about their work, they wanted to do pixel art about their work, they wanted to make music for games, they wanted to program for games, they wanted to learn the business side of it. Whatever it was a case where they had resources, they had access to answers, and they weren't doing it. And so we built some systems here we figured out worked for a lot of folks, including worked better for me. Through this exercise, part of why I set out on this journey several years ago really came down to wanting to have better control over my own direction of how I spend my time. I'd had some good successes in the past of at least being able to get myself to do the things I intended. And I phrase it that way because it really is a focus not on maybe the result from the outside world, right? I've been making a podcast for many years. I've did daily YouTube videos for more than a year solid, and another big, I think probably 6-month run after that. Blogged once per week for 5 or 6 years. Now, any given one of those, I'm not saying was enormously successful, best-selling, tons of listeners, whatever. But the point is I was able to get myself to do it, to connect my intention to doing it. Because until you connect yourself to doing it, you can't get experience at it. You can't network in it. You can't put in your portfolio to point back to. You can't learn from those experiences. You can't build on that. But once you do, it opens up a lot of doors. And in some cases, I have had some successes where I was able to make 4 or 5 games every year for the past 20 years. Some of those games have done very well. Other games have been successful for me in other non-traditional ways, about access to the arts community, academic community, in terms of my indie circles, in terms of new connections, opportunities, in terms of my output as a teacher. But these are techniques that I found helped me over the years, ways of thinking, ways of seeing if my results aren't connected to what I wanted to. And here's also why it's so important near the end of the year, when you're hearing this, probably. New Year's Eve is coming up. And a lot of folks so famously fail at New Year's resolutions that it can feel hopeless. Because we know it's a time of year where we have an intention, a thing that we mean to do. I want to get myself going to the gym. I want to read more. I want to finally release my game. I want to start my podcast. I want to start making YouTube videos. Whatever it is that they want to do. Knowing, expecting that by the end of January, it's going to fail. It's not going to work. And this is specifically the problem that this audiobook and transcript are designed to help you address. It's specifically about, you know what you want to do. Here's where and how people accidentally, unintentionally derail themselves from making a few key mistakes early on about their targeting, their pacing, their failure to, a lot of what it focuses on is kind of a core technique about externalizing our intention and about the value that gives us in terms of the clarity of what I'm trying to do, how long I'm giving myself to do it, just various little bits of pieces like that. They can sound so simple and basic, and that's part of why it works, because you can't screw it up because of how simple it is. And part of what I like about this too is that something that's general enough, it's kind of a skeleton key to other techniques. A lot of people have problems with their productivity or their output, with even intentionally resting, with getting themselves to meditate, with getting themselves to go for a run, just to do things that aren't all about productivity. a lot of the problem that they have is they'll find some system that might work for them, but they can't even get themselves to do the system. They can't actually get themselves to do the Pomodoro method. Can't actually get themselves to stick to a certain exercise routine or frequency. And that, again, is where, at least through the application of this technique, is kind of the initial gap. Can I get myself to at least try it? To put the shoe on to see if it fits? This can help unblock you from doing that. Now, a few things about it. Again, it's called SelfCommand, subtitle, How to Get Yourself to Do Things. And originally, it was built a list on getyourselftodothings.com. Now it's self-command.com is where you can find it. I said there's kind of a special way to get at it. So it does have a price on it. I did spend years of my life working on this. It was hundreds of pages of material through multiple drafts, 5 hours of output now from material, tested with dozens of people, refined it. A lot of work went into preparing this material. That said, I understand. Not everybody out there is in a financial situation where they have a budget for this. Not everybody out there is maybe has access to PayPal or credit card or other things it would take to make a purchase, which I still strongly believe I'm providing more than the value of the cost. But that said, another way to get at it, put a lot of thought into how to make this fair and reasonable, people, is essentially a honor system, pay it forward. Now, someone out there might take advantage of this. That's life. I trust you. What this is about is, because this is all about being able to get yourself to align your intention, what you mean to do, to doing it. There's people out in the world who need help, who can't necessarily help you back. Quite often, that's people who need help most. And so the honor system works, and how it works for this is that you can instead opt to get the materials at literally no cost to you. No cost to you ever. You're not paying for it later. You're not paying for it as a subscription. Instead, you're acknowledging that by getting access to materials at no cost, what you're agreeing to is that within the next year, you're going to find a way to put at least 2 hours into some version, some form of volunteering to help others who can't necessarily help you back. That might be speaking to a classroom full of kids, might be volunteering at a shelter one weekend, might be going to a soup kitchen. But you can use these same techniques to assign yourself, to assess what options make sense for you to do that, to assign yourself to make that kind of awkward first phone call to say, hey, I'm new to doing this, but I'd love to help. What do I do? And my hope is that even just through that foot in the door, as one of the techniques you'll hear about, of getting yourself to try it, to get out there once, kind of becomes easier to do it next time. Maybe it'll become a pattern, maybe it'll grow from there, but all I'm asking is 2 hours of your time, sometime in the next year, helping others. And that is actually going to be, I think, more net good to the world than the sticker price, which again, I think I've put the work into it. I think it's valuable. I believe in what I'm providing the value of here. SelfCommand, self-command.com is where you can get it. And like I say, you can use it to move yourself towards some increased productivity. I've been actually using it specifically lately. I think I've mentioned a couple of these videos. I've had some really stressful, messed up stuff happen in my life lately. And it's not anyone's fault. It's a health situation in the family. It's not a relationship thing. But all the same, it's been a lot to think about. It really ties us up. It taxes us. And I'm grateful I can be here for people. I'm grateful to have a situation where that works. That said, it's been harder than ever to concentrate. I've been at reduced capacity. And yet, by using these same techniques that I train others in and teach others in and help others with, I have been able to stay on top of my work. I've been able to kind of keep it together. I've been able to not get overwhelmed or have it build up too much on me. And so I've been grateful even to apply those to my situation. Where some of the techniques developed from was when I was sick some time back. And some of you might even remember this in an old video. And I just found a simple trick that when I was not feeling well, helped unlock me to at least stay on task, to at least keep my focus without getting distracted and forgetting what I was trying to do, winding up fiddling on my phone or just hours passing and having not done the thing. As I'll also emphasize in there, and of course, I'm all about self-care, sustainability, taking care of yourself long-term. You're no use to your players, your teammates, your bosses, your family, etc. long-term if you don't take care of yourself. It's not just about productivity. This is not a technique just for workers to get more units out of themselves. This absolutely can and should be used. These same techniques for you want to read more, you want to meditate, you want to just rest, you want to give yourself and defend half an hour once a week, maybe once a night. I don't know your time situation, playing a video game. Whatever it is, it can also be used. It's just about matching up what you intend to do and having a few more tools in your tool belt, conceptually and in techniques, to be able to match up what you intend to do with what you really do. So that's all I'll say about it for now. Again, it's available right now at self-command.com, or you can also get there from the old URL, getyourselftodothings.com. Hope it helps you out. Love to hear from you about your experiences with it, how you've adapted it. I want to thank those of you, the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of you who've joined that list over the years to help me out with earlier testing back when it was experimental videos. Some of those earlier techniques have found their way back into, you'll see some echoes, some rhythms, some adaptations in the final version of it. Proud to have it out there, proud to be helping people, thankful for your time and consideration here. And I hope that, either if you're up for picking it up, that'd be awesome. And if it's something where, again, financially just doesn't like an extension in your budget, nothing but respect. Hopefully the other option there of paying it forward through a bit of volunteering can be what works for you. And hopefully that's in the spirit of this time of year. So thank you so much for listening. Go over to self-command.com, pick up your copy of, again, it's an audiobook in several different formats. So it's easy to work for whatever player you have, as well as transcript in there, which I finally got in a bunch of different formats that are, you'll see all the ones listed there. You'll have no trouble accessing the material. But that's it for today. Thanks for being here. Again, happy birthday to me. Bye for now.